Oh my God, I'm so excited, Candice. Thank you for being here on the Spark podcast. It is such an honor to have you, and we're having a wine. I'm so excited. Cheers.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Anytime. I just forgot that it was bad luck after cheersing, even after virtual cheersing.
Yep.
So good. So let's tell everyone about your backstory. Let's start from the start. So your business is Admin Avenues, but I want to take a step back first and give everyone the context on how you got here. So was there a career first, other businesses? How did we get here?
So I was a career executive assistant. I've worked in admin for 20 years.
Awesome.
But I'm only 28, so I started really, really young.
I believe you.
So I was one of those people. I'm one of those people that is literally an admin advocate, because I did from reception all the way through to EA to a president. Wow. So I've done every step along the way. I understand every process. I understand how to get to where you are, every political part of it, every type of industry. I've done investment banking, I've done media, I've done design, I've done it all. I know everyone in the industry. Like I feel like, yep, I've got a good scope of what this is all about. So I'm a huge advocate for the admin industry. So I started being a naughty kid in high school with zero idea of what I wanted to do. And so I was just kind of like, oh, well, I'll travel and figure it out. And obviously I needed money to travel. So I was like, well, what can I do? And I thought, I could do reception. I can answer phones. I can do that. Awesome. And so I got my first job in an architectural firm in Brisbane.
Nice.
And I was like so chuffed. I was like, guys, I'm here. I've made it. I'm wearing heels and they click when I walk. I've made it.
That is the dream. Yes.
Yep. I'm looking good in back then there was no surprise. So there was like, I think Warehouse for Fashion, which was like this hideous nylon clothes you thought business people were and what you could afford. And you're like,
oh my God, I'm bringing back memories here.
Yeah. So that was my first gig. And then within 3 months, the office manager left and they were like, do you want to take over that role? And I was like, sure, like fake it till you make it. Let's see.
Cool. Absolutely. Like, yes, absolutely. Yeah, I would.
Absolutely. So I did that. And then my bosses were like, oh, well, do you mind like taking on our diaries as well? And I was like, this is like, they think that I can do this.
I think that I know what I'm doing. This is fabulous.
And then so I took on their diaries and I'm like, well, basically a PA now, like office manager, and I'm looking after the director's diary.
Wow.
It was a good like 4 meetings a week. So, you know, I was
busy.
So then I went traveling and again, didn't know what I could do apart from admin. So I just said, okay, I'll apply for admin jobs. And I got a job in Escada, which is one of the biggest fashion houses in Europe.
Wow, cool.
Super chuffed. I was like, they picked me again.
Oh my God, yes.
And I earned £16,000 a year.
Killing it. Yes.
Yeah, killing it. I think I could afford rent and 2 cans of beans. But I loved it. And I was just like, oh, this is so fun. I met so many fun people and I got to go to fashion shoots and launch parties. And I was just like, wow, this is really cool.
Cool.
And then when I came back to Australia, I was just like, well, I still don't know what I want to do. I'll just continue in with admin. Never thinking it was a career. I always just thought, oh, this is what you do till you find what you want to do.
Yeah, okay.
And so I was like, okay, did that. And then I eventually landed in Sydney for an investment bank called Morgan Stanley. And I was their receptionist. And I was just like, I could see what everyone's kind of doing here and I understand it. And I think I can do this. And I was just like, yeah, I'm ready to step it up a bit. So the next role I took was a bit more senior. And then they just hired a COO and he was chief operating officer, in case someone doesn't know. And he needed an EA. And I was like internal. So the right thing to do is to look at internal first. And he interviewed me and he's like, do you think that you can jump to C-suite like level? And I'm like, yeah, I do. I really do. I think I'm that good.
He was like, actually amazing. Yeah.
He was like, all right.
Yeah.
And we ended up working together through 3 companies, and we are still the best of mates. So,
oh my God, that's awesome.
The man that took a chance on me, his name's David Hampton, Uncle Dave. And he ended up being like my pseudo uncle in Sydney, because when I get a flat tire, I'd ring Uncle Dave and be like, what did I do?
Save me.
So he kind of gave me my portal into the C-suite like EA world.
Yeah.
And I just knew this was me. This was my career. Yep. I felt important. I felt like I knew everything. Like I felt like I could give back to the exec team. Like I felt like, no, I should be in this room because I'm able to tell you what you're all doing. I'm going to put together all of this for you. I'm going to help make your life so much easier.
Totally.
And I was like, this is going to be my career. And
wow. That's so cool.
Yeah. So then I did many years of being an EA. I worked for the head of Channel 9, the head of SBS, a world-renowned interior designer / author / TV personality, Kelly Hoppen in the UK. I worked for the president of news in the UK for NBC Universal, who is now the CEO of BBC News. So I've worked with some big hitter people.
Yes.
And I always kind of felt like, okay, once you've hit this level, where do you go?
Yeah, that's interesting.
So I kind of was thinking I want to do something in admin, but I wasn't sure what. So I was like, so then COVID obviously happened. I was like, I'm going to go home, have a think about it, then take 4 months out, going to see everyone, turn 40, and then head on back to London.
Yep.
And then 2 weeks in quarantine hotel, I was looking at temp jobs because I was like, when everyone's at work, what am I going to do? So I was like, I'll just do a bit of temping and, top up my spendings instead of savings. And I was just kind of like, where are all the jobs? And then so I kind of spoke to my friends in admin, spoke to recruiters, and they were like, it's too expensive to put job ads out now. So we just kind of put some out here, or we put them on our job board, or we do this. And I'm like, what about us? Where do we go? Like, that's just how we do it. And I'm like,
wow,
we're the biggest industry ever. Name a business that doesn't have admin.
Yeah, wow.
And so I was just like, where is our place? And so I was like, that's it. I'm going to build something. So the idea for Admin Avenues was born from quarantine.
I think there were a lot of good ideas came out of quarantine. I think
so as well. There was plenty of time to think.
Yeah, well, that's it. I think it's like the first time, like we as business owners or professionals or whatever actually took a minute to think.
Yeah. And also just be like, well, where are there gaps in the market? And where, because the world changed after COVID. Like we're taking everything online. And I remember one of my bosses would talk about being in the cloud. And I'm like, well, on the cloud, the systems are on the cloud. Yeah, so how do we get in the cloud? I'm like, we're not doing
You're like, if you are not in a cloud right now, you are too late.
Yeah, we're not doing this.
Yeah, this is not happening. This is not happening.
So it kind of just organically happened, the idea. And then when I did the research, I saw that there was a need for it. And then I started doing, like, talking with web developers, and then I was like, all right, I think I'm going to do this.
Wow.
And then mapped it all out and just went, yep, this is happening. And we built the MVP that went live on Friday the 6th of May, which was Admin Professionals Day.
Oh my God, could not have planned it better.
Yeah. So it was really like, I just felt so chuffed and so proud to be able to go out to the world and say, not only are we going to create a place for you, but we're also going to create a place that lets you know that admin is a career.
Yeah.
This is all the way through. This is from your teens to your whenever you want to kick it. Yes. Like you pick. But this is a place for you. You can earn serious money. You have serious power in these roles. You travel all over the world in some of these companies. It's awesome. And it should be a selection as a career, like when you're doing career days and things like that, they should be having administration as a career option, but they don't.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Like, as you explain it, I'm like, obviously, right? Like, I even think of my partner has an EA, and I'm like, it would be so hard working for you, like how organized and how, you've got to know basically everything he knows, but, be able to translate that and support him and manage calendars and do everything and be at their beck and call. I'm like, this is not an easy job. Why do people not think that this is actually huge?
Yep. Yeah. And it's been a slow burner for people to actually understand what an executive assistant does, because historically, of course, it's been the sexy secretary, they wear Mad Men tight outfits, a pen in the boobies, and they got coffee or things like that, but they were never considered actual business strategists. They were never privy to team meetings. It was always kind of, when they came out, you were given half the information. You had to kind of what the rest was. Whereas for me personally, in my career, I didn't wait to be asked, would you like to join? I was like, I will be sitting at that table. I will be taking notes, and I will be telling you what will come out of it. Because one, I had the confidence to, but two is because I knew that I could make that better. And that's my skill set. That's what I'm really good at, is being able to read people, being able to see, okay, that works with that. Okay, the timeline with that will be that, but he's actually going over to LA screenings, so he'll be out for 2 weeks. We need to, and they're having a baby, so they're not going to be able to work on this project. This is all going through your mind because you're privy to everything, and everyone else there focuses on one.
Yes.
So having your EAs or having your admins in the room able to do all of that thinking for you and mapping it out and saying, actually, you think it's this is what it is, and here's a project timeline, this is who can work on it, this is just blows people's mind, because they're just like, how did you do that? And it's like, that's what we do. We see the world differently to you. We hear differently to you.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting that you say that, in terms of everyone in the room thinks about themselves and has that singular focus, like, what's on my agenda? What have I got to do? How am I progressing in my career? But you, as the admin, have to do that for everybody and piece the puzzle together.
Yeah. So, and then the second part of that is then having a meeting with the admins to then funnel down the information to them so that we're all on the same page, because most of us have a priority executive, but I may not know, they're actually going to be away for this, or they're going to be doing this, so who's going to step up in their team to cover this? It's a real business partner strategy role. Like, admins do not get the respect that they deserve. And so hopefully through admin avenues, through educating, through going around to corporations and doing talks on what an actual admin does for their corporation, we're going to start educating people about the role of an admin, but also the value of an admin, and start looking at those salaries.
Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, I spoke to you a little while ago, and I think admins can actually make really decent money.
They can make very decent money. They can make very decent money. S10, which is a recruitment company in Sydney, released a salary survey, which is like a guide that shows you. They interviewed like thousands of admins, and they were able to populate where you should be at and where things are at your industry. And so you can use that and go into your mid-year review or whatever your review is and go, hey, this is industry standard. This is where I am, or, this is where I want to be. And then be able to work with your executive around that. There's certain industries where if you're not at that C-suite level, they're like, well, there's 7 lined up behind you. Like, if you leave, if you want to work for the music industry or you want to work for fashion.
Oh, yeah.
They know that there's 50 people lined up at the door ready to take $60,000 salary.
Yeah, that sucks.
Because, it's great experience, it's great exposure, it's great to have in your CV, but it's kind of like you kind of do it when you're young and get the, okay, tick, they did that. And then you can move up through it. But yeah, I'm really, really happy with what we're doing with Admin Avenues. I really hope that we can get so many more people interested in the admin industry, get them to buy in and be like, you know what, these people are really, really critical to our businesses, everyone's business. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, but I just, I'm at the moment it's just in Australia, so this is my focus. And then who knows where we'll go.
That's so cool. So tell me then how you went from, because it's really interesting. So as you're talking about being the admin, so you think about that, that's a career, but it's like you've gotten all of this insight into the business world anyway, before you actually started a business, which feels super cool. Like, how did you go from being, I guess, an employee to a business owner? What was that shift like for you?
I think you're always exposed to business, especially at C-suite level. You're part of budget planning, you're part of strategy, you're part of, especially, for instance, my last job with Kelly Hoppen, who she owns her own business outright 100%. So everything in her business was my business. So she's one person, and she's an author, TV, interior designer to the stars, has products, so is designing product lines, was on QVC TV selling her stuff that, like, there's only one of her. So guess who I had to be?
Yeah. 1,000 people.
So while she could do this, I had to do this. And by doing that, I had to be involved in every single part of her business. I had to sit in every negotiation. I had to talk with the lawyers. I had to be in everything so that she could focus on what was making her money and the business money.
Yeah.
And she's a creative as well. So she doesn't want to deal with that. She's like, that's your job. My job is to make amazing products and houses and whatnot. But she trusted me implicitly to be like, you've got this. You just let me know what I need to do. Yeah. So she was happy for me to sit with her accountants, her lawyers, negotiate with people who want to do collaborations, things like that, where she was just like, I implicitly trust you to be able to tell me how to do what we're doing next steps. Like, if there was a delay in marble being sent and all sorts of things, that all of that had to be pushed into a project timeline. So it's like, okay, we need to push back the launch. Everything had a knock-on effect. Wow. So it's kind of my training to be like, shit, this is really what business is about. You have to constantly pivot. You're working with PR for a launch date. COVID happened, it blew up everything. All the design shows were cancelled. Shanghai, the biggest design show in the world, she was meant to be a keynote speaker. We had to make it online. We had to, like, all these things that are tangible things that you want to see, touch, and it all had to go online. So we all, everyone, all of us just had to be like, right, how are we going to make this work?
Yeah, wow. We all suddenly have to know how to do business differently.
Yeah, it was like all these designers that need to touch fabrics, that need to see it in a certain light, that need to, this is critical stuff, and huge money invested. Yeah. We had to send them in Ubers home to people. We had to, like, because the country properly locked down. So wow. I was at the office because I live next door, and I could send them like deliveries of stuff, but I was just like, okay, this is what business is. It was my first kind of, all right, this is how you have to be able to pivot in business.
It's so true. Yeah.
So it really was teamwork in getting through that period. And Kelly wrote this lovely post on LinkedIn and tagged myself and the office director in on that, and just saying, like, I couldn't have got through this without these guys. And I was like, kudos to you for actually publicly recognizing that it was difficult, and without these people who work in admin, we wouldn't have been able to get through it. So I take my hat off to her for recognizing it, and also I take her hat off for trusting me and being able to be like, you've got this, and me being able to be like, I do.
Yeah. Have you always had this confidence? Where did this confidence come from?
I think the career journey. You've gone from here to here, and you're like, I've got this. I'm really good at this. Like, it's not many things that I'm very good at, and that's not putting myself down. That's just like, I'm not a good singer. I'm not a good dancer. I can't cook to save my life, but I'm really organized. and I can whip up things like you wouldn't believe. I have contacts that you wouldn't believe. I can make chairs appear at restaurants that aren't there. I can make show
really wow, I need to get in on some of this.
Exactly. So that's my skill set, and that's my confidence of knowing, yep, I've earned those contacts. I've done the favors back. We've all worked together. We do this, we do that. But also by proving my worth time and time again with these business owners or executives, and them being like, great, roll with it. Them saying to me, yep, you've got it, was me being able to be like, I do actually have this. I'm good at this. And then teaching people. So if people wanted to be mentored, I would teach them what I would do. And people would laugh at me because I had colored coded this, and I have Monday to Friday in like my pigeonhole, which is because in my roles, if I got hit by a bus, that was an issue. So I had to have everything in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that if I got hit by a bus, someone else could take it. Someone else could just pick up and roll with my job, because that's kind of where it's at. It's not like you can't just say, oh, sorry, I'm sick. It doesn't work like that at my level.
Wow. And look, you think about that as a business owner, that's the exact same thing, right? So, when you are, EA to a president of a bloody global international company, you do like what you are dealing with is so important. If it is not done, well, you'll get booted pretty quickly. But you're right, you can't take a day off. And I feel like that's kind of similar to the business owner space, right? You sort of, you're like, well, if I'm not doing it, who is doing it? And yes, at some point we all have massive teams and help and blah, 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 but not at the start. At the start, it's all you.
Yep. Everything is me, myself, and I. We're a great team. If one of us falls over, we all fall over.
Yes. Oh my God. That's such a good analogy.
But I think that's what has helped me in business, is being so incredibly organized, so structured. If I was to fall over, who could pick up on this? If I had to do this, how would I do that? Like, you're already thinking and planning for your plan A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
So I think that it set me up ready to be an entrepreneur. And I always knew I would have my own business. I thought I'd be a VA or something like that. Which I do have another business that it's like a VA business. It's called the Executive Support. But it's very, very, flexible. So bosses that went on to be on board levels, boards.
On boards, yes.
Board levels, boards. They don't need a full-time EA, but they still need someone to do their board packs, book their flights, book their dinner, make sure that, they can meet Mike in town, and that they've got somewhere to work if they fly in early, or if they're delayed or anything like that, that they can just have someone who can handle that for them. But then they don't need you for the rest of the month.
Yeah.
That's having that kind of flexible support at that high level where they already trust you. You've already built that rapport. They know who you've worked for, so you've got the street cred. They can immediately trust you with their like credit card details and things like that. So it's a very high level VA support, I guess. So
that's like two completely different businesses, right? So, being there for that kind of board level person, managing multiple of those. And then you've got this Admin Avenues, which is like tech platform, marketplace, acquiring customers. That's really interesting. Like, you would have to put on so many different hats. And I mean, as business owners, we always put on different hats. How have you found the tech side of things? What was that like, building a platform?
I do not pretend to be tech great. I'm tech good.
Yep.
Great. And I always had that ability, like, when your parents' TV wouldn't work or the Wi-Fi wouldn't work, I could fix it. Like, nice. I was that kind of good, but I couldn't like go into the back end and fix or code or anything like that. Yeah. So working in a platform that actually needed to be built and had coding, I had a web developer, and at the time I had him to myself, and it was amazing. So he was working solely on my product. But then he took a full-time job
No.
with the guy who actually introduced me to him. So I can't even be angry.
Oh no, that's
But
hilarious.
he got me to launch stage. So he was just amazing. He, like, I would write him emails at 2 a.m. being like, I'm freaking out. Why isn't this done? This isn't working. And he would just be like, Candice, it's fine. You just didn't put this in, and you didn't log in your admin one. You need to. And I just, okay, thank you. Because to me, this is my everything. I put all my savings into this. There's no investor. There's no person behind the scenes. It's just me.
Yeah.
So I would have these flip out attacks, and he would be like, we're good. So Matt, thank you, love you. You're the best. When I get rich one day,
tech people everywhere,
never be forgotten. Never. And then he kind of, when he couldn't take on my work after launch, he introduced me to another company that I could then work with to keep it going. But I needed someone to actually build it. Yeah. So he's just, such a star. So but I can do a bit here and there, but I can't, I don't pretend to be a tech expert. So when someone says, why don't you do a podcast in tech, like women in tech? I'm like, I'm not a woman in tech. I'm a woman that owns tech.
That's hilarious. But it's so interesting though. Like, I mean, I'm a non-tech person as well. And we built a software platform, and I'm like, I did the sales bit, like I went out and told people how amazing it was, and then hoped that the developers would build it on time. So I totally resonate with that because,
but I think you project manage that.
Totally. Yeah. But I think it's a good lesson. Like, you don't have to be a person in tech. You don't have to be a coder to be able to build a tech platform and bring something to market.
Exactly. And there's always help. So
yes. And I love how you said, like, you project managed it. I'm like, you're right, because you have the vision, you have the features it need, what value it needs to provide to the customer, and your ability to clearly communicate that to a tech developer is the make or break, I think.
It really is. Like, my brother works for Microsoft, and his skill is that he speaks code and speaks customer. So he can talk to tech people how things need to be mapped out. And then he can talk to me and be like, this is what it is. This is the journey. This is what needs to happen to do that. And I'm just like, thank God for people like you. Like,
oh my God, I know. It is so true, isn't it? I'm like, because I'm so, whatever, like airy fairy and, and too nice.
Yeah. And when you're dealing in tech, you need to be very specific. It's,
oh my God,
the arrow goes to there.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, oh, the arrow has to go to the sign. Well, no, you have to say it goes
right there. And then when you click on it, it has to go right there.
Yeah, exactly. So
I know that's the best lesson. So true. But I think too, like, it's yet another hat we wear as business owners, right?
Yeah.
Depending on the type of business you want, you kind of have to learn a few skills that you might not particularly have picked up. Like, I mean, I love your admin experience because you've been able to be in the room with so many different people, pick up so many different skills. But I love that, tech's completely new, right? But you have to have the discipline to just get it, and really take the time to understand what you're trying to do and how you can best communicate it with people.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And know your strengths. Like, don't try and be it all. Don't try and do it all. You need to hone in on what you're good at, and then trust the process that people that are experts in what they're doing. It's like meeting you, I was like, I can't do what you do. I needed your help to guide me through to what I couldn't do myself. I was just like, I can't do it. I can't get to it. I have done it 7 ways around and I can't get to the answer. And you were like, here it is. And sometimes it just takes someone who's got those eyes that can be like, here it is. You have it. You just needed to put it out like this.
Yeah. And well, I appreciate you. Thank you. But it's so true, because the interesting thing I think is that, like, no one's kind of inventing something super brand new, right? Like we can leverage all of this different information, all of these different experts. You know, if you want to do something today, there's probably someone out there that can shortcut your success.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. You don't have to spend $10,000 on a consultant. There's probably a YouTube video that you can go to first and work your way up to that.
Yeah. And if not, like, you know, we're both members of One Roof. And, you know, the amount of people that you can use as resources in there, like, you can just even do a call out on their Facebook group or in their LinkedIn or anywhere you want to do it and be like, hey guys, need help with X. And about 5 people who are industry leaders in there will be like, yep, what do you need?
Yeah.
Like, having those kind of communities and having that kind of help where people don't even want anything from it. So if I can just get you from here to here, there you go. And it's just, it makes life so much easier when you don't feel like you're doing it alone.
Oh, totally.
Even though you're a sole business owner, you are doing it alone. You feel,
and you haven't left your home office in like 3 weeks. Yeah.
You've got the dirty hair ponytail.
Yeah. Yes, I finally washed my hair today. It was a big milestone.
Well done. Well done. Cheers to you. Cheers.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You've got to celebrate the small wins.
Exactly.
Oh my God. It's so true though. Like it always surprises me how much people don't ask for help and they spin their wheels and get overwhelmed and frustrated, but B, how much people are willing to help for nothing, just to like be like, yeah, look, I've done this before. I'm willing to help. I'm willing just to answer questions, whatever, to help you along your journey.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, like, for instance, I found you from watching a masterclass.
Oh yeah, that's right. I did a free sales masterclass in One Roof. Yeah.
But that's what I did. I was like, I'm struggling with this. I'm going to watch this masterclass. And from that, I was able to connect with you. Like, having that ability to be able to do that in business is critical. Because we don't know where to go. This isn't our area. We're not in business with all these people. Like, I've spent my career being invisible, and now I have to be right in front of the camera and being like, hi, I'm an expert in this. It doesn't feel natural to me. So having people that are like, no, you need to do this.
You're amazing and do this.
Come forward. And you just say, all right, slowly get in there. And then you're sitting along with peers and you're like, this is good. These are great people. And I feel like I belong at this table too.
Well, I love it too, because it kind of goes back to your career experience where you're like, oh, I'm not really sure. I'll do this. Oh, I'm really good at this. Oh, now I've made an awesome career out of it. I kind of feel like that's the business owner journey too. It's like, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing. I've got this idea, find some people. And then all of a sudden you go, oh yeah, I'm awesome.
Exactly. And it almost needs like someone to be like, yeah, we want you like, we need you there. And you're like, yeah, that's right, because I'm awesome.
Yes.
That's right. I have the answers. But it's predominantly a women's issue where we go, oh, I'll wait till I'm asked. And it's like, no.
Absolutely not.
Pop on in there, sit on down, talk to everyone, be part of the community. Don't wait to be asked, otherwise you'll be sitting on that bus stop for a very long time. That bus doesn't come.
No, that's it. The bus won't arrive to you. I love this so much. So let's leave the people with one last piece of advice. So if anyone was tuning in, female founder, and they were, or maybe they weren't female founder yet, they were in a job and they have an idea and they're kind of struggling to take the leap, do you have any advice for them?
My advice is do your research, because we all get overexcited with an idea, and you're like, your best friends have told you that it's a great idea. And of course they're going to say that, and your mum thinks you're great and your grandma thinks you're even better.
Yes.
But the fact is, if you're about to jump into something that's going to have a huge financial commitment, do your research. Make sure that there's actually a market for it, that you're solving a problem or filling a gap, but also that you're financially able to take the leap, because it's a huge burden. It's a huge, huge burden. And you may think, oh, I'm just putting up a website. That doesn't cost a lot. Or just doing this, just. It's not. It all adds up. And then it's just a website. It's just marketing. It's just working out the sales. It's just getting the customer. You are pimping yourself out every which way possible. And there's only one of you. So make sure you know what you're doing. You've done the market research, so you know what you're filling the gap for, or that you're solving a problem, and make sure you have the financial backing to be able to support yourself during this journey. Otherwise, it's really, really stressful. And, have a support crew. Have people that are going to hold you accountable, for one, not just be like, yeah, you. They're going to be like, well, where are you at with that? Why haven't you done that? Why haven't I gave you this contact for this? Why haven't you contacted that?
Yes.
Have those real people that are going to hold you accountable, but then also let your grandma and your mum tell you are amazing and pat your head, and that's what we do.
Everything will be okay. I'll top up your wine.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And if you drink, have the wine, have a glass at the end of the day. Don't feel bad. It's okay. It's stressful, this journey. It's very, very stressful, but just know you're not doing it alone. If you ever need a community, there's so many amazing people out there that are willing to help, but just do what you can to minimize what's going to be a burden on your shoulders. That's all. Otherwise, why not? Take your shot. Take your shot. What's the worst that can happen?
Oh my God. I love that so much. And I agree with everything you said. It is so important to make sure that someone's actually going to buy your thing. It's so important to take the pressure off by making sure you've got the financial backing and the support crew. Like, now it's like never been a better time to find people who have got your back and are on your side and can help make things happen for you faster, like they are everywhere. You are absolutely incredible, Candice.
You are absolutely incredible.
Thank you so much for being here on Spark TV. You're so good.
Oh, it's so good to be able to connect and be able to hopefully help others that are on this journey, and be able to say, hey, if she did it, I can do it, because that's how it should look. It should be like, hey, she was a receptionist, now she owns 2 businesses. Like, why can't you do it? Why can't you get involved? Listen to people who have done it and get involved. Just go for it. Do your research, but go for it. Chase it. Get involved. We need more people that are excited about business.
Mic drop. You are amazing.